Okay, today we're learning, continuing learning about the Ten Commandments. Here's a book that I promised you that we would learn from. We learned from it last year, actually. This is a book called MITZVOT HASHEM, the Commandments of God. And this book, the author has collected and explained the 613 commandments of from the Torah. According to the Rambam, according to Maimonides, there's different opinions. They vary very slightly, which commandments are from the Torah and which are not. And anyway, so he lists them, 613 of them. How do we know there's 613? Because there's a sentence that says, Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Moses commanded us the Torah. Torah is the word Torah is the numerical value of 611. So Moses gave us 611 commandments at Mount Sinai. And because the Jewish people couldn't hear from God, it was too powerful. All they heard from God was two commandments. I am your God, and you shouldn't have any other gods. The first two of the 10 commandments, that's all they heard. The whole rest of the Torah they didn't hear. So 611 Torah, the Gematria Torah, they heard from Moshe. And Anochi v'lo yelecha, I am God, and you shouldn't have any other gods, that they heard from God himself. So that all comes up to 613. So here we have 613 commandments. Very good. So let's just go through the first few here. 1 second, we have to make this smaller because how do I do this? Yeah. All right. So let's take the first few commandments. In this Torah, well, there are 10 commandments, right? In the commandment, but really those 10 commandments are they imply a lot more than just 10. They apply a lot more than 10. So let's see if we can break them down. Here we go. Ready? First commandment, to believe that there is God. To believe that there is God. And he, Yit Ale, God, blessed be he, and high is he. Himtzi, he invents. Let's put this over here. Sort of. There we go. Oh. God has invented. He produces kol hanimtzaim, everything that exists. Right? It was written by a person called Rabbi Baruch Bencher. Okay, this book. So God, he brings into existence everything that exists from his power and his desire. Nitava kol ma shehu, God creates everything that exists. Shahaya v'shiyah, and everything that did exist and everything that will exist. Al kol davar yazam yasod hadat, on everything it applies, everything in the world applies and is founded the religion, the Jewish religion. That's the foundation of the Jewish religion, that there's a God who creates everything right now. So if you're reading this, you are now being created. And if you're not reading it, you're still being created by the God of the Jews. Mishalo Yamin, anyone who does not believe, who kofer beikar, he is denying the basic fact of truth. Kofer beikar, ve'ein lo chelek v'zechut b'Yisrael, and he has no portion in the Jewish people. He has no portion in the Jewish people. So it's like a person, let's say he lives in wherever it is, Italy, but he refuses to admit that he's in Italy, and he only pays taxes to France or something like that, right? So what you're getting all these benefits. Well, you're using the road, you're using electricity, right? You pay for tax. I pay taxes. I pay to, but not to Italy. I don't like Italy. but you're living it. What are you talking about? The same thing is God is creating the world. God is giving us eyes, nose. He's giving us life. He's giving us everything that we exist. Everything that exists, God is creating. No, you have to give him all of the credit. All the credit. Let's start off with the first commandment. At least give him some credit. Right? We'll see the second commandment is don't give anything else credit. But at least give the creator of the universe credit. So that anyone who does not want to believe that he hasn't really got a place in the Jewish people. A very severe way of saying it, because nowadays, that's the truth. But nowadays, no one can be punished for not believing in God, because first of all, education is so terrible, and not only that, most people they not only were they not educated, a lot of people they don't even know what Judaism is. Right? It's not that they don't even think there's anything to be educated about. Sometimes, you can be ignorant about something. And most people don't even know Judaism has anything to do with God or whatever, if there is such a thing as God. In any case, ideally, anyone who does not believe in this has forfeited his right to the Jewish people, because the essence of a Jew is one who believes in the Creator, right? Being Jewish is not just eating corned beef or whatever you do. That's very nice, but the essence of a Jew is to believe in God. The fact is, every Jew does believe in God, whether he knows it or not. He, she. A person, even more, is obligated to give his life and everything that he has for this faith, this emunah, this faith. And the main thing is the person should set into his heart that the truth is so. And it is impossible to change this. And this is a commandment which is constant at all times, every moment, every place, males, females, everyone, every Jew naturally does believe in God, but you have to bring this from the natural, from the potential to the real. Number 2, that's the first of the 10 commandments. Second commandment, you should not have any other gods. What does that mean? Do not, where's the pointer? Pointer. Like it says, you should not have any other gods before me. A person that even considers that maybe there's another God, another power, an assistant, right? A son, a Holy Ghost, a father, a mother, a spirit, except for God. Oh, Eza Shitufa, maybe God has a partner, God forbid. Oh, a person thinks in his mind, maybe there is, I believe in God, but also you can believe in the sun and the moon, right? And the frog, God, or something. This is denying the essence of God. A person should not say anything which implies in any way the denying of God. Chas v'sholom means God forbid. Or any sort of admission or giving thanks or praise to some sort of idolatry. Shamora by idolatry, that anyone who gives thanks or gives any credit to idolatry, kafir b'kol Torah, is like he's denying the whole entire Torah. Ki kofir bika, because he's denying in this main, very important point that there is a creator, and the creator creates everything. And this creator took us out of Egypt, and it is totally forbidden to even think that there's something other than the creator that we can worship. So you can't worship the creator or any of the angels or any of all the Jews are all sons of God. You can't worship a Jew. But who period is in the wrong place. Period should be here. And we are obligated to even sacrifice our lives and everything we have for this, that all of these things that are relevant to the essence of Judaism, namely that God exists and that God is one, a person is supposed to give his life rather than transgress, especially bowing down to idolatry. The knowing, because this is every place, every time, males, females, etc. Number 3, You are not allowed to make any sort of a idol to worship. Don't make yourself a pesach. So it could be one of two things. Either means you shouldn't make it with your hands, or you shouldn't take something that already exists and make this as a god for you. So you want to worship the sun, want to worship the moon. Well, you're not making it, right? You didn't create the sun, but you are making it into a god. You're giving it an importance that it doesn't really have. And you're also denying the true unity of God, right? If a person transgresses and does it, whether he does it for himself or he commands other people to make a altar or an idol or something, or he declares that people should worship the sun, or they should worship the moon, or they should worship a person. But if you make one for yourself, then you get beaten twice. Number one, if you make an altar, an idol for someone else, then that's one transgression. But if you make it for yourself, then that's two. This is also in every place, etc. Not to bow down. Yeah, there we go. Not to bow down to any sort of idolatry. Like it says, and this is all in the 10 Commandments. Even though that, let's say you have some sort of an idol that, there's one idol that's called Mercury, I guess. They used to throw rocks at it. There were other idols, the Baal Peor, that people used to go to the bathroom in front of it. They used to defecate in front of this idol. So if you decide, I don't like throwing stones or these other things, I'm going to bow down to it. That is forbidden, even though nobody bows down to it. But if a person that does a Jew bows down to it, this is a bowing down that even though you don't bow down to this idol, but people do bow down to God and bowing down in the holy temple. And so anything which can be done for God cannot be done for any other idolatry, even though that's not the way of serving this idolatry. If you do it if you do any of the services for serving God, like bowing down, if you do that to an idol, then the punishment is stoning to death. And now, maybe now is the time to say that these punishments, death punishments in the Torah, they are very real. They are very real. They're not really conducted now. And even the time when they were, we talked about this before, even when there was the Sanhedrin and all the Jews were together, but it was almost impossible to apply this, the death penalty. Almost impossible. We'll learn more about it. But in order for just to give you an example, in order, let's say idolatry, right? So a person worships idolatry, the punishment is if he does it on purpose, and if he's warned, so the punishment is death. But what does it mean, warned? You have to have two witnesses there, and they see this person is about to worship an idol. Right? He set this big frog up or something, and he's about to bow down to it. And they say, that is forbidden. You're not allowed to bow down to it. He has to say, immediately afterwards, within like 10 seconds or something, 5 seconds, he has to say, I know and I don't care. And then immediately after he says that, he has to bow down and worship it. And you have to warn him properly, first of all. You have to say, if you bow down to that, you're going to get punished by stoning. If you say you're going to get punished by beating, by burning, whatever it is, no good. It has to be exactly the right warning. The person has to agree with you, say he understands, he has to immediately do the sin. If he waits a little bit longer, they'll say, oh, I forgot, I didn't know it was forbidden or something. So it's almost impossible. Not only that, you have to have two witnesses. The two witnesses is also criteria for the witnesses. Witnesses not supposed to be relatives, etc. In any case, don't bow down to idols. Now, like I say, these things do not apply nowadays. The punishments don't apply nowadays physically, but they certainly do apply spiritually. In other words, what's this idea of these punishments? It's coming to tell you that the God who's creating you doesn't like it. and God is creating you, you owe him everything. And he's not asking you for that. He's not demanding that much money from you, right? If God would say, okay, who's creating you your legs? Where'd you get your legs from? No, what do you say? You say, ask somebody else. No, come on. Who's creating your legs? Okay, you are God. Here's a saw. Go in the next room. I want to have both of those legs in 25 minutes. God could, if God wanted to do it, he could do it. God forbid. I mean, where do you get your legs from? You created your legs? Where'd you get them from? You got it from God. Same thing with people's eyes, your nose, your mouth, tongue. All these things are gifts from God. So if God wanted to, he could say, it's mine. I want it back. I'll take it back. But God doesn't do that. Because God wants there to be a world, and he wants us to have limbs and things, but he wants us to do with them what he wants. So if a person says, I don't even believe in God, that there's no creator or anything whatsoever, so that's pretty severe. That's pretty severe. Of course, God hides himself. So you can say we've got a good excuse. I mean, how can we believe in God when we don't even know what we're talking about? So that's the ideas of, that's why you have to learn Torah. So maybe it's better not to learn. So the answer to that is very simple. We're not in this business for receiving rewards or punishments. We're for giving appreciation where appreciation is due, right? If someone saved you from robbers and got you out of captivity and risked his life to do it, and he set you up in business and he gave you food, and you at least want to say thank you to him, right? You want to say that here God is giving us everything. We want to be thankful to him. Come on. You want to be thankful. What do you mean? I don't want to learn, so I don't have any responsibility. That's not human. So that's what it says. It's good. That's the whole point of the Torah, is to learn how to repay God. And what happens if we don't repay God? No, absolutely nothing. Nothing. You see people do all sorts of sins. Nothing happens to them. So if so, that's a good. So why shouldn't I do sins? The answer is because God doesn't want it. That's all. You have a little bit of gratitude. Come on. God is creating you. He's enlivening you, right? It's if you do things in a proper way, you feel happy. Okay. A negative commandment, not to do. Yes, not to make any sort of idol or to declare that something else is a God to worship. Don't bow down to it, like we said before. Don't make idolatry. Another commandment. Don't serve idolatry in the way that it is served. Like I said before, Pa'or. Pa'or is what people would go to the bathroom to this God. Sounds pretty weird, but believe me, people do a lot more weird things, and a lot more publicly also. Here we have, right? That's the way everybody would serve it. So you can say, I'm not serving that idol. That's called disgracing it. I'm going to do it just to disgrace it. It says you serve that idol in the way that other people serve it. That is a big sin. So not to serve any idol in the way that it is served, no matter how bizarre that service is, it is forbidden. Let's just do one more, and we'll go back to the. Okay, this is already the third commandment. The first commandment is don't. The first commandment is worship only God. Believe in God. Believe that there's a creator. The creator is creating you. He took us out of Egypt. Believe only in the creator. That's it. Number one. Number two, don't believe in anything else. Don't bow down to anything else. Don't make any statues to anything else. Don't declare anything else to be a God. Commandment number two. Commandment number three, don't swear in God's name in vain. Don't take God's name in vain. And number four is going to be keep the Shabbat. And number five, and there's a lot of commandments in Shabbat. The fifth of the 10 commandments is don't, honor your mother and father. That's the fifth commandment. Now, usually it says like this, that the first 5 commandments, that's between us and God. And the last 5 commandments: don't kill, don't steal, don't steal means kidnap. Don't steal, don't kill, don't commit sexual crimes. Don't right. Don't kill, don't commit sexual crimes, don't steal, don't kidnap, right? Don't bear false witness, and don't desire the things of your friend. That we'll talk about, God willing, tomorrow. Well, let's go. So here we have the first big 3. They deal really intensely with us, with God. Why the other 2 are considered to be between us and God, namely keeping Shabbat, that you can sort of understand, and honoring your mother and father. Okay, we'll talk about that. Let's go. Don't swear for nothing. Don't take God's name in vain. Like it says, Lo sisa Shem Hashem Elokecha b'shava. You have to be very, very careful with God's name. So let's have a look at this, and then we'll go back to the Chumash and see. Shavua Shava, taking a vow for nothing. There's 4 different facets of this. A person that changes something that's known. For instance, he says, I swear that this tree is really the moon. I swear that this stone, that it's made of gold, and it's not. That's called an empty vow. And he's done in God's name, right? So an oath which is ridiculous, a ridiculous oath. I swear that the moon is the sun is the moon. I swear in God's name. That's taking God's name in vain. Number 2. I take an oath on something which is totally unnecessary to say. I swear by the name of Hashem that the moon is the moon, that a banana is a banana. That's what do you have to take God's name for a thing like that? That's obvious. That is using God's name in vain. Number 3, I swear, a person makes an oath to negate a commandment. He swears to God that he's never going to put on tefillin again. He swears to God that he's going to eat not kosher food. You can't do that. You can't go against the Torah. You've already been sworn in by God at Mount Sinai that you have to do that. Even if you weren't there, your soul was there. Number 4, a person swears to do something that it's impossible to do it. I swear I will jump over the moon. I swear I will not close my eyes and go to sleep 3 days in a row, nothing at all. Oh, Shalom, you told me I won't eat anything for 7 days in a row, not eat or drink. A person that does that is taking, and he swears in God's name. That's using God's name for nothing. You want to take an oath, right? Make an oath, make a fool out of yourself. But you're not allowed to take God's name in these things. If you did it by accident, then it says that it's forbidden, but you're exempt from punishment. One of the examples of this is a person makes a blessing for no reason, or he takes the name of God for no reason. This is a transgression, a lotisa, on this, what it says. So very, very common that people curse each other. They say, God, damn this, or whatever. That's forbidden to do. You can't do that. You can't take God's name. To the degree, you should even be careful. A person stubs his toe and he says, oh, God. Right? You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to take God's name in vain. Okay, I don't know if that really goes into the category of a transgression, because in a way he is calling out to God. So that's in a way okay. But in any case, a person has to watch out. Now, the reason why is because the way we relate to God is by God's name, right? For instance, I say, I believe in God. What is it? So I can't say I believe in something. What are you talking about? What do you believe in? You know, I don't want to say it. That's ridiculous. If you believe in God, so you have to have some sort of a name for God. Or if you bless something, God bless you. Well, you want to say, you can't say just bless you in general, bless you, but it doesn't make any difference. Who's going to bless you? I'm going to bless you. So usually that's what it means when dealing with God. It's very important to realize that God interacts with the world through his name, and we interact with God through God's names. That's when we're praying to God. We call out to God, the Creator, the Almighty. So all of these names, it's a good thing to use them, but only properly and only in an honorable way. Third commandment of the 10 commandments: don't take God's name or any name of God lightly. Okay, the fourth commandment is going to be to remember the Shabbat day. Remember always that, what's the main thing of Shabbat? We'll talk about this. We're going to, God willing, I hope tomorrow we'll get to this, that God creates the world. Shabbat is saying that God created the world and that there was no world before God created it. And because God created the world from nothing, so it means the basic building block of the world is nothing. So it means that God is really enlivening it all the time. And God gave this is the job of the Jews, to inform the whole world that he's creating the world, that he is creating everything. That's the job of the Jews. Non-Jews are not supposed to keep the Shabbat. Non-Jews have not got this obligation of announcing to the world that there's a creator. They're supposed to believe it. That's the first of the 10 of the 7 Noahide commandments. And by the way, the 10 commandments, which were given to the Jews, are not the same thing as the 7 Noahide commandments. And even though they do definitely have a connection to them, especially the first 2. Well, we have to believe in God, and the whole world has to believe in God. All mankind has to believe in God. And we have to not worship idols, and the non-Jews also have to not worship idols. How do we know what an idol is? Worshiping, praying to, believing in, giving credit to any power other than that which took the Jews out of Egypt is idolatry. Any power which did not give the Jewish people the Torah, the 10 commandments, and took the Jews out of Egypt and created the world, that's the 4th commandment. Here it is. God created, they have 6 days. God created the world, and the 7th day he rested. Any God that did not do those things is forbidden to worship, forbidden to pray to, forbidden to believe in. And that's why it's so very, very important to sanctify the Shabbat, because Shabbat gives a testimony that the world is really made from nothing all the time, and God is making it. It's a negative commandment not to do any work on Shabbat. What is work? There are what's called 39 categories of work, and all these 39 categories are all forbidden to do on Shabbat. I want to make this small. Oh, here it goes. What's going on? Why is this happening? All right. Let's just go back, because sometimes this thing becomes ornery and just doesn't want to do what I want it to. Here we go. Let's go back to the sentences. First commandment: I am God, your Lord, that took you from the land of Israel, that took you from the land of Egypt, from the house of slavery. We learned this yesterday to tell us that God wants us to serve him. You should not have any other gods on my face. What does it mean, my face? God says, I am eternal, I am everywhere. Don't think that I'm the creator, I'm the boss. but there's also, I'm the president of the United States, but there's also governors and mayors and other people. Not so. I'm the only one. I'm creating you. Nothing else is creating you. The stars aren't creating you. The angels aren't creating you. The others, the other gods, whatever they are, right? The God of the Hindus, the God of the Christians, the God of this is not creating you. I am God of the Jews, giving the Torah. I'm creating you. Don't give credit to any other God. Number 3, don't make for yourself a pesel, any sort of a statue or a picture, which is in heaven or heaven above or on the earth below, or the water under the earth. Like I said before, don't make for you also means something that already exists, and you declare it for yourself to be a god. Why is it called a pesel? Pesel means it's something that you carve out, or a picture of anything that's in the heavens that you worship. Don't do it. Now, there's also certain prohibitions to make statues. Really, a Jewish person is not supposed to make a statue. How far this goes to the non-Jews will has to be looked into, but don't go and smash, Michelangelo's whatever David or something because Rabbi Bolton told you to. I mean, if you do it, at least don't say that I told you to, because it's not so. But a Jew is not supposed to make a statue in order to worship it, and a non-Jew for sure is not supposed to worship anything except for the Creator, just like the Jewish people. That's what it means. 1 minute. That's right. Not supposed to make a picture. What does it mean, a picture? A picture even of the word tamuna is the gematria, the numerical value of partzuf adam, the picture of a person. So you can have pictures of your family or whatever it is, but it can't be somebody that you're going to worship. You can have pictures of your teachers and such, but no, you're not allowed to worship anything except for God. And even to make a picture of this worshipped item, you're not allowed to make. All right. Don't bow down to them. Don't serve them, because I am God, your God. I am a jealous God. I visit the sins of the fathers on the sons, to the 3rd and the 4th generation, to those that I hate. What does it mean? I am a jealous God, says Rashi. I always pay back. I will not forget if you anger me to relinquish all the punishments. That's what it means. Kaneh, jealous, means he's like, I say, steadfast. Steadfast. I'll take revenge on whoever does, and whoever worships a foreign idol. How long is it going to take? I don't know, but it's going to come very soon, I hope. And it doesn't mean that God's going to punish all these idol worshipers and he's going to, burn everybody in hell or thing like that. He'll just show everybody that it's a big mistake. I mean, you can't blame these people for worshiping idols. I mean, it's succeeding. It's working, right? It's working. Here you got these people have huge countries that they rule over, right? And they're worshiping it. And it's better to worship something than to worship absolutely nothing, just to worship yourself. But nevertheless, the fact is that it's forbidden to do, and it's counterproductive, ideally. So he says that God will punish the children for the sins of the fathers. God doesn't do that. Come on, why? He says that very simple. If the children do the sins of the fathers, then they get punished for it. And it's, how do you say, it's it builds up. So the fathers serve, even if the children don't serve as severely as the fathers do, but they still hold on to it. So the sins of the fathers are still will be visited on the fathers, because a person dies, his soul doesn't die. So it'll be visited on the fathers, and also on those that perpetrate the sin. The whole bundle of it will come on the fourth generation. Will get repaid. It says, don't bow down to anything which is in the heavens or on the earth. It says, God says, I'm a jealous God. What does it mean, jealous? I don't want that those people who serve me should serve also anything other than me. Because there's no comparison between, God is saying, between me, who I create everything, and those other things that you worship, which I'm creating them. And therefore, it's worthwhile that I should have jealousy because I'm doing something that no one else is doing. All these other idols, they're not creating you. I'm creating you. I don't want you to worship a person or a star or a power or anything else that's not creating you. Right? And there's only one creator, that's me. And all these other things that you're worshiping, I'm creating them also. So how can you possibly worship them? Nevertheless, we see that it didn't work. 40 days later, all the Jewish people did partake in one way or another in the golden calf. I do kindness to 2,000s, those who I love and who do my commandments. Says Rashi, a person that does something good, so God will pay back even for 2,000 generations. So it comes out that good is more powerful than retribution. For how much more? So 500 times. It says if a person does bad, so the bad carries out for 4 generations. And if a person does good, so it carries out to 500 times as much, 2,000 generations. 2,000 times, 500 times 4. 500 times 4 is 2,000. This is also coming to tell you that when you do a commandment, this is the Balatorian, Tizair should be careful not to do it without any intention. And as you do it because everybody does it, it's the Jewish heritage. So I put on tefillin and I pray and I put on tzitzis, but you're not doing it for God. Beware, try not to do that. You should do the commandments for God's name, for the sake of God. That's what it means, the Shomer MITZVOT. It says, I do kindness to the people who love me, and that's why they do my commandments. They're the ones, so the commandments should be done from love, that you appreciate God. Think a little bit about whose commandments that you are doing. Don't take sorry, 1 minute. Okay, right next to this, we see the next is don't take God's name in vain. It says, so how does it go? Number 1 commandment, believe only in God. Number 2 commandment, don't believe in anything else. Number 3 commandment, don't take God's name in vain. What we learn from this, that is very, very severe, taking a false oath equal to all the other commandments. That's why it says you have to, and when you do the commandments, right, that's what we just finished saying. When you do the commandments, you have to make sure you do it for the sake of God. If you look in the Torah, it says, lo tisa, here, lo tisa, that there are tagim on the letters. There are these little hairs that are drawn, little tiny sticks on the top. So this is over here, there's 7 of them. There are 7 of them, and that corresponds to the 7 times that it says kazav, lying. The word kazav means to lie in Yechezkel. The 7 despicable things that God hates, the 7 sins in the reproof, the 7 other type of results from when the sins of the Jewish people become filled. And that's the 7 names of the evil impulse, sheketz, menuvel, matov, the disgusting, the 7 levels of hell. So that's why it does, that's these little lotisa, these little sticks, because it's coming to say that take God's name in vain is very, very serious, very serious. Don't take God's name in vain, because God will not clean off a person that takes God's name in vain. Let's just do the Kli Yakar, and that'll be it for today. Here it says, the rabbis say that all of the, in the Gemara and Shavuot, all of the world shook when God said, don't take my name in vain. And why is this? Because it says in Hosea, the prophet Hosea, Allah, Kachash, cursing, how do you say, lying, stealing, murdering, stealing. Alzos tochal oretz. This is what makes the whole entire land of Israel mourn. What does it come to tell you? That all these sins, they do get paid for. God punishes them. But a Shvuah Shava, making a false oath, it's repaid for him, and also the whole world is punished. Therefore, it's logical why the whole world, it says the whole world shakes when a time when a person makes a false oath, when God gave this 3rd commandment, don't take my name in vain. Because this is relevant to everybody. The reason is because lo tisad shame, don't lift up the name of God in vain. This shows that it's like a tree. A tree bears with it all of these branches. When you shake the trunk of the tree, all of the rest of the tree shakes. The fruits, the flowers, the leaves, the branches. Well, the trunk of godliness is God's name. That shows how you relate to God. And God's name is what creates everything in the world. God is creating everything. So as soon as you shake, you take God's name improperly, you're shaking the whole entire world. You're upsetting the whole entire foundation of the world. You're denying that there's something more important. You're saying that there's something more important than the Creator. You're denying the importance of the Creator. And that shakes the whole entire creation. That's why it's very, very important not to take the name of God in vain. Tomorrow, God will learn about Shabbat and the rest of the 7 commandments of the 10 commandments. Have a good day with Mashiach now.